Hello, soulmates. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Oluwaseun of Tommy Clothing. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer and a returning subscriber, thank you for sticking to my channel. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching us how to draft, cut and sew the corporate gown that is attached to this video. So I'm going to be taking you through the step-by-step process on how to draft it, on how to go about the sewing process as well. So if this is something you would like, please stick to the end of the channel. So now let's get right into it. So I've gone ahead to divide my pattern paper into two, where I have the front and the back pattern. So I've gone ahead to place the horizontal lines, which are the shoulder line, the chest line, the bust point line, the under bust, the waistline, the hip line and the lower hip line. To get your lower hip line, after your actual hip line, you go down by 2 inches. Then you get the length of the gown like this. Then also the new length. I didn't mark it here, but I'll show you where I marked it. So I'm going to be placing half of the shoulder measurements here, then on the chest line and on the shoulder line. Then I'm going to be rolling a straight line across, just as you can see. So next up, the neck width I am working with is about 3 inches and 1 inch for shoulder slope. Then I'm just going to go ahead and connect it this way. So next up, I'm going to get the midpoint and go in by half an inch. Then go ahead and connect it to the armhole. I go in by half an inch this way. Then go ahead and connect it to the armhole, just as you can see. So next up, we're going to be taking the nipple to nipple measurement. So that's half of your bust span. So you mark it up from your bust point line to your hip line. You roll a straight line across, just as you can see. So the intake on both sides around the waistline, I'm using about 0.75 on both sides. So from the under bust, you come down by 1 inch. So below the waistline, I marked about 5.5 inches or 6 inches. So I went ahead to connect all the points, just as you can see. Just connect it this way. So next up, I'm going to be placing the bust measurement. You place your bust measurement divided by 4. You also place your waist measurement or your under bust measurement divided by 4 plus the dart intake that you took. Then your waist measurement divided by 4 plus the dart intake. Then you also place your hip measurement divided by 4 on the hip line and on the upper and lower hip line, and also mark it on the actual gown length. So just go ahead and connect all the points together, just as you can see. Connect all the points together this way. Now I'm going to be taking the bust dart. So the bust dart, difference between the front and back waistline of this pattern is about, I think, 1.5 inch or 2 inch. Then I'm going to get the midpoint of the shoulder, then connect it to the bust point, just as you can see. So next up, we're going to be opening up the shoulder dart. This is because we want to eliminate excess around the shoulder. You open up the shoulder dart and you also open up the bust dart, just as you can see. You open it up to the bust point, to the tip of the bust point this way. So this is what we have. So next up, you have to close the bust dart. Just use your paper tape to hold it down a little bit. Then you reshape the line by the side. Reshape the line by the side. You reshape it by the side carefully. So next up, we are going to get what we have at that opening. So whatever you have at that opening, you divide it by 2. So you place it here first, then you place it after the armhole, after the shoulder ending. Then you mark your shoulder, like your shoulder slope, maybe it's 1 inch or 1.5 inch, whatever you have. So now you are going to be closing the shoulder darts to that point that you marked earlier. So now you are going to redraw the shoulder line, just as you can see. So now you are going to be connecting it back to the armhole. That's the midpoint of the armhole that you marked earlier. So now you take a paper or so that you can close up the bust dart, because there's an opening around that part. So now we are going to move to the over bust to craft out the design. So at this point, I'm just trying to determine how the design is going to be, because you know that there's a joining around there. You're going to be joining around the shoulder. So I'm just trying to determine. So after the chest line, I went up by 2.5. You can go up by 2 inches, depends on what you want. So I went up by 2.5 inches. So next up is this design. So I came in, I marked about 0.75 for that design. Then I came down by 1.75 or 2 inches. Then I slanted the line, just as you can see. So next up, the neck depth I used was about 3.5 inches for the neck depth. So next up, after that 0.75, I marked in 2 inches. Then on the neck depth like this, I marked about 1.5 inches. So you can see I connected the points together. So like this is how the design is, something like this. So I'm not done drafting the front because we've not done our new tightening, but let's just move to the back. So we are going to go ahead and draft out the back pattern. So the back pattern, I already marked out the horizontal line, which is the chest line, the waistline, the hip line, the upper hip line, the lower hip line, the gown length. Bear in mind that the front and back waistline, they are different. So they are different. So on the waistline at the center back, you go in by 0.75. So then you connect it to the upper hip line and to the shoulder line like this. So next up, you are going to be marking half of your shoulder measurement on the shoulder line and on the chest line. So you go ahead and connect the points, just as you can see. So 1 inch for shoulder slope and 3 inches for the neck width and 1.5 inches for the neck depth. I'm just going to go ahead and connect the points, just as you can see. So then also mark the line for the shoulder slope. So I'm going to get the midpoint here, then go in by half an inch, then connect the points together so I can get our armhole or arm cycle. So next up, you are going to be placing half of your bust span on the waistline. Whatever you have, you mark it after the 0.75, then you add back the 0.75 so that you can have a straight line by the time you mark it on the chest line and on the hip line. You can see the lines are straight. So the intake on both sides, I'm using about 0.75 on both sides. So I went down by 5 inches or 5.5 or 6 inches, whatever I used for the front, I can't remember. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect the points together, just as you can see. So next up, we're going to be placing the bust measurement on the chest line. Your bust measurement divided by 4. So your waist measurement divided by 4 plus the 1.5 inches that intake. Then your hip measurement divided by 4. You mark your hip measurement divided by 4 up to the gown length. So you just go ahead and connect all the points together. Remember that we have not done the new tightening, but we'll do that shortly. So just go ahead and connect all the points together, just as you can see. So now to make the waist more defined, so around the waistline, I came inward by half an inch on the front pattern and on the back pattern. Come inward for half an inch just to make the waist more defined. So then I'm just going to go ahead and reconnect the lines, just as you can see. So next up now, we're going to go for the new tightening. So to get your new tightening measurement, so your waist to your new, whatever measurement you have there, you deduct 3, or your shoulder to your new, whatever measurement you have, you minus 3 from it. Assume maybe from your waist to your new you have 23 inches, then you minus 3 will give you 20 inches. So whatever you have, you mark it on the front pattern and on the back pattern to get your new length. So that way you've gotten your new length. So now I'm just trying to mark the new length for the back pattern, then rule a straight line across. I should have done this at the beginning, but it skipped my mind. So next up, we're going to be doing the calculation for the new tightening. So the calculation is your waist measurement plus 6 inches divided by 2, then your hip measurement divided by 2. So whatever answers you have on both sides from your waist and your hip measurement, you deduct it. So in this situation, I have about 1 inch for this person, or 0.5 inch. So I cannot use 0.5 inch. So the standard I can use is about 3 inches. So I'm going to work with 3 inches. So I'm going to be sharing 3 inches into 3. So I'm going to be marking 1 inch at the side front of the waistline of the new length. I'm going to be marking 1 inch here. Then for the back pattern, I'm going to be marking 1 inch at the side and at the center back around the new length. Do you understand? So I'm going to go ahead and mark it on the gown length as well, 1 inch. just as you can see. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect the point up to the hip line. That's the lower hip line. So this is for the back. So sorry, this is for the back pattern. So the center back, this is how you are going to take your ruler. You're not just going to be making it so curvy, just a slight curve this way. So this is for you to have a pencil gown kind of feel. So I'm going to go ahead and label the pattern. So this part I'm labeling for the yoke is going to be cut out. That's where the design is. So next up, I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors so that we can go ahead and cut this pattern paper out, as you can see. So this is me cutting out the front pattern. So yes, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the back as well. So when you get to the waistline for the back, you are going to be doing a little bit of a tightening around that back part. So I'm just going to show you how to go about it. So at the center back of the waistline, like this, on that line, on both sides, you mark 0.5 inch up and down like this, then you connect it this way. So now in this way, I'm not supposed to close it up, but I closed it up. I'm not supposed to close it up. Since there's going to be a joining around the waistline, all I should have done was just cut it out. So I closed it up, but I'm still going to be cutting it out. I'm still going to cut it out anyway. So I proceeded to continue cutting the back pattern, just as you can see. So now I'm just going to open it up and cut out that excess around the waistline, just as you can see. So you make sure you label your pattern as well. You make sure you label it. This is the back A and back B, up and down. So this is the front pattern. So now to eliminate excess around the waistline, so we'll call it smile line. So now you are going to come down by 0.75 on the center front. So close up your dart this way. So now you take your curve rule, you slant it this way. This is to eliminate smile line around the front. Yeah, so you're eliminating smile line. So this way, I've already marked it. So I'm just going to close up the dart and cut. So I'm going to cut it. So you can see that the excess went to the upper part. So I'm just going to cut the actual excess away from the upper part, just as you can see. So this is what you are going to have, like this. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut the yoke. So this is how you are going to cut it. So this is what it looks like, just as you can see. Next up, there's a design around the waistline. So I'm just going to take a new pattern paper and place it this way. So because I want to craft out that design, so I'm just going to close up the darts of the front pattern, because the design is around the front pattern. So I'm just going to close up the dart this way and place my paper this way. So you can see it's a fresh paper underneath it. So I'm just going to take my pencil just to rule the lines, to outline, to make the lines visible, just as you can see. Then also mark it by the side. Also mark the line by the side this way, just as you can see. So I'm just going to take out the front pattern paper this way. Then I'm going to determine the length I'm going to work with. So I think I marked about 5 inches across. I marked about 5 inches, then I connected the whole point together, just as you can see. So I extended it by 0.75 or half an inch. This is because this design is not sitting directly on the hip line if you look at it carefully. So it's not really relaxing well. So then I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. So this is for the design around the waistline. So this is for the design around the waistline. So now this is what we have for the whole drafting. So now we have come to the end of drafting the pattern for the front and the back for this dress. So next up is the sewing tutorial. So yeah, now this is the materials I'll be working with. So I'm working with 2 different colors. So for the wine, I have about 2.5 yards. Then for the black, I have about 1 yard. So also the pattern paper that I've drafted, the zip. So I didn't get the wine color for the zip, so I'm using a black zip. So now these are the materials I'll be using: my scissors, and your pin is very important. So these are what I'll be working with though, and your sewing machine. So for the yoke, I have about 4 pieces, and all around it I marked about 0.5 inches for sewing it, so I have about 4 pieces for the yoke. So now this is how the yoke will be on the front pattern, just as you can see. So now this is the upper part of the front pattern and the lower part beneath it. So make sure, so by the side I added 1 inch for sewing allowance by the side, and all around the bottom, the shoulder, the armhole, I added 0.5 inches. So now to get the dart, I notched it by the bottom. So now I'm just going to take in my pin. I pinned it below the chest line just as I marked it. So the pin is on the other side, so I'm just going to use my chalk to note where the dart is starting from. So for the bust dart, you're going to be sewing it 1 inch after the bust point. So I have a pin there as well, so I already marked it. So this pin, putting the pin there is going to make me know where the bust dart is going to start, just as you can see. You also notch the bust dart by the side to determine how much you are going to sew. So now for the bottom part as well, I notch out the dart line, then I imputed my pin where the dart is supposed to end. So the pin is going to come through to the other side, so I already marked it. So by the side I added 1 inch, then the bottom 2 inches, then around the waistline 1/2 inch. So I also cut out a facing for the front panel. So I cut out a facing, just as you can see. So there's a facing for it, so make sure you have a facing. So next up now is the back pattern. Now I'm going to be explaining the back pattern. So now I also have a facing for the back pattern. So this is what I have. So for the back panel, so I also notched the dart around the waistline, the dart line. Then I also imputed my pin around that point so that I can mark to know where the dart is going to start. So I'm going to use my chalk to note it down. So you know the pins comes through to the other side, so I already noted it down. So now around the center back, I used 1 inch for zipper allowance, then by the side I used 1 inch, then around the shoulder, the armhole 0.5. So for the down part of the skirt, for the gown, I already imputed my pin, so to mark out the dart, just like the way I did for the front, I did for the back. So 1 inch around for zipper allowance, then 1 inch by the side for sewing, then at the bottom 2 inches, then around the waistline 1/2 inch. So for the facing, if you have a weaving machine, you can use a weaving machine to like hold it down so that the material will not fray. But because I don't have a weaving machine, I'm just going to sew in 0.5 inches inward for the whole interface, the interface for the front and for the back. So next up now, I'm going to be taking out the pins. So we are going to take out the pins for the pattern. I'm going to be taking out the pattern, so we are going to be sewing the dart first. I'm going to be sewing the dart, and I'm also going to be sewing the yoke by 0.5 inch. So you can see where I'm going to sew. This is where I'm going to sew this part this way. That's where I'm going to be sewing for the yoke. So that's where I'm going to be sewing for the yoke. So and also sew the dart. So this is what I have for the yoke. So you can also add stay to the facing for the yoke. To the yoke, I mean, I added facing to one part of it. So this is what I have for the two sides. You sew it, then you turn it to the other side and iron press it. So this is what I have for the yoke, the two yoke for the front. Look at it. So this is what I have. So next up, I've also gone ahead to sew the dart for the top. This is the bottom part of the back. I've sewn the dart and I've also stitched out the zipper allowance. So this is the up part of the back, like this. I've also added a facing. Also make sure that you notch the facing so that you can relax well. So any curvy part, like I said, I've sewn the interface around the neckline by 0.5 inch, so you make sure you notch. So use your M gum to gum the interface down to have a neat finishing for that part. So now this is the front, this is the bottom part of the front. I've gone ahead to sew the dart, and this is the upper part of the front. I've gone ahead to sew the bust dart and also to take the dart. So now this is the interface for the front part. So now we are going to be placing the yoke. So you see how this yoke is this way. You are going to match it both hand together, then you place it this way. Use your pin to hold it. So you do the same for the other side. Just as you can see, use your pin to hold it. Then you take out the interface. You can see. So you take out the interface. You are going to be stitching it around. So around that V-neck, make sure that the stitch is tiny. It's not, you are not taking in about 0.5. So this is what I have after stitching it. So to hold the interface down, you use your M gum to hold it down. Use your M gum to hold it down. So next up now, what I'm going to do now is we are going to be joining. I'm going to use the M gum to iron down the interface. So this is what I have. So you do that for the front and the back panel. Use your M gum to gum down the interface. So next up is the design around the waistline for the front. So remember the pattern paper I cut earlier. So this is it. So at the top and below, I added 0.5 inches. For the side, I added 1 inch. So I have 2 pieces for the wind, then 2 pieces for the black. So below it is 1 inch. So the black is 1 inch longer. So this is the sleeve. So the black is 1 inch longer. So this is the sleeve. I'll be explaining the sleeve later. So now I'm just going to be taking out the pins. So you are going to be sewing at the bottom. Remember I said 2 pieces. So it's going to be right side facing right side. So you are going to be sewing 0.5 inch around the bottom for both the black and the wine. So this is what I have after sewing it together. Then I've gone ahead to iron it. Then I round a stitch around the waistline, just as you can see. So next up, I'm going to be bringing the front pattern, the bottom part of the front pattern. I'm going to be notching it. You notch the center front. Then I'm also going to be notching the upper part of the panel, the front panel, the center front. Then I'm also going to be notching this design around the waistline. I'm going to be notching it. So I'm going to be placing it this way on the bottom part of the gown, like this. So use your pins to secure it down. So now this is the upper part. So I'm going to be placing it this way. Use your pins to secure it down because you are going to be sewing it around the waistline. You are going to be sewing 0.5 inch around the waistline. So I'm also going to be opening up the back as well, so I can make sure that I sew it as well. I sew it by 0.5 inch. So make sure that the darts they align. The darts they align very well at the back. So I'm going to go ahead and sew 0.5 inch around the waistline. So this is what I have after sewing 0.5 inch around the waistline for the front, and this is also for the back, just as you can see. This is also for the back. So next up now, we are going to be joining the 2 shoulders together. So when you join the 2 shoulders together, you join by 0.5 inch. Then you also take your measurement all the way down, your waist measurement, your bust measurement, your hip measurement. You take it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So this is what I have after joining the shoulder and joining the seam by the side. So this is what I have. So this is the back. So this is what I have though. So this is the back. So now the sleeve, you measure what you have around the armhole. So it's what you are going to be marking around the top part. So for the length, I have about 8.5 inches plus folding it at the end. So then you also measure your circumference. So whatever you have. So this is what I have after joining the sleeve. So what next is to attach a zipper, then stitch it at the bottom at the hem line. So if you have an hem gum, you can use an hem gum, but in this case this gown also has a slit, so I'm just going to be matching it down my machine. I'm not using an hem gum. So make sure that I'll match it down my machine, and also make sure that the dart line at the back that they align. So this is what it looks like after stitching it. So I'm going ahead to stitch the hem line. So what's left is the zipper, and to close up the slit part, to open up the slit part a bit. So this is it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do all that. So this, I'm also going to show you what the final look looks like on the mannequin. So this is what the final look is on the mannequin. It's actually not my dress, so if it was my dress I'll have worn it and show you guys. So guys, we have come to the end of this tutorial. So I hope you guys like the outfit that we made together. You know that we made it together, so I hope you guys like it. So I'm going to see you in my next video. So stay blessed and thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit on the subscribe button, comment, like and share.